Hey, and welcome to another Draw With Me video. I'm going to make a fan art for Kaeya from Genshin Impact video game. I'll work on Procreate app today. This piece took me like 8 hours to finish it, but I really enjoy it. For the canvas, I am using 2000 by 3500 pixels. And don't ask me why I prefer to use pixels, because sometimes I use like centimeters, but sometimes I use pixels. It depends on the drawing I'm creating. Normally, before I start any piece, I look for various references on Pinterest to get inspiration. So let's head to Pinterest app. Let's search for some references. I'm writing his name, Kaeya Genshin, so I'll find his photo easily. I think I'll use the original photo for Kaeya for now, as I want my fan art to be something similar to the original design. Let's download it so I can use it as my main reference later on the app. Now, to Procreate app. Here's the pose I decided on for Kaeya. As I told you before, after finishing sketching, I merge all the layers and then reduce the opacity of the sketch layer. Then I create another layer beneath the sketching layer to refine my sketch on. This step is very important for me because it makes it easier for me when adding the base color later. Let's get started. In this phase, I prefer to keep repeating drawing the line art till I get satisfied with the results. I know it takes some time, but here I want to focus more on the details, unlike the sketching phase where I just focus on the pose itself. For me, Kaeya is one of my favorite characters from Genshin Impact game. I remember I created a fan art for him last year, and this year I decided to make another one because I really like his design so much. He's been my main in the game for a long time and I play with him from time to time, so I really enjoyed drawing him. I think that Kaeya is the rarest character in Genshin, as I never get him from any banner, although I'm playing the game for a year and a half now. And here are the final results, the refined sketch I've done. Now let's open the reference. You can open the reference from here, from the setting menu, choose canvas, and then just open the reference you want from your photo. All you have to do like import photo and add whatever you want as your main reference. For me, I am using Kaeya as my main reference and start adding the base color. First, I'll merge all the layers for the sketch and then add a new layer for the base color. Don't forget to reduce the opacity of the line art so it will be easy for you to add the base color. Okay, now I'm picking the base color from the original photo. Just touch and hold your finger on the screen till the eyedropper tool appears and pick the color you want to use as your base color. For the base color, I am using the hard airbrush. Now it's time for hair color. I prefer to choose the medium color hue to use my base color, not a darker one or a lighter one, because it's easier to add shades and highlights later when rendering. Normally when I'm adding the highlights, I choose a lighter color from the base color I use, so don't pick your base color too bright or too dark. Here I am using the selection tool to paint the hair because it's better for adding tiny details on the hair base color. I think for me it depends on the drawing if I decide to use the selection tool or not. Some drawing need the selection tool and other doesn't matter if I use it or not, so it depends on the piece I'm creating. For me, at the beginning, I was avoiding using selection tool because I thought it is hard to use, but once I get used to it, I never stop using it in my drawing. So give it a try and tell me in the comments if it is easy for you to use the selection tool in your drawings or not. If you find it hard, don't worry, it will take some time to get used to it. And don't forget to like this video and subscribe to my channel for more videos like this. Here are the final results for adding the base color. Now, before I start rendering, I'll work on the background itself. For the background, I'll open the perspective tool. You can open it from the setting tools, canvas menu, then open that drawing guide. By the way, you can change the perspective according to your art composition. For the background, I'll add some Mondstadt houses because I think it will reflect the vibes very good. I think adding Mondstadt environment in the background will work well with Kaeya, as he is a character from Mondstadt. And don't forget that he is one of the Knights of Favonius. This is only the first sketch. I will refine it again until I get satisfied with the results. So don't worry if your sketches is not good, because when you work on it more and more, it will improve till you get the satisfied results. And here the final I've got for the background. For me, I don't make a line art for the background, so I only decrease the opacity of the background sketch layer. I am using a different brush for the background here. I'm using the flat brush for rendering the background, because I'm using a different brush for rendering the character. But for the background, I'm using this flat brush because it has a very nice texture. Let's start coloring the background before rendering. I start coloring the background before rendering the character, so it helps me decide on the hues I'm using and the reflections of lights and shades on the character itself. Now, let's render the hair. When I am focusing only on the tiny details, I change my reference to the canvas itself. It means that when I'm making my reference is my canvas, I can focus on the picture as a whole while I'm working on the tiny details. So I can work on the details I know, and at the same time I can see the picture as a whole and how those tiny details affect the picture. First, I start by adding the highlights as usual. As you can see, here I can see my canvas as a whole while I'm working on the highlights on the hair. I really enjoy playing Genshin Impact, and I think this is because the art style they are using in the game, which is anime style. I am fond of watching anime, so Genshin Impact game become my favorite game ever. Also, their characters' design is adorable and unique. That's why I like making fan art for Genshin Impact all the time. If you are playing Genshin Impact 2, please let me know who is your main character in the game. Now, when I need my main reference for adding details and picking various hues, I just flip back to the reference and pick the color that I want, then go back to the canvas after I pick the color I want. Let's render the coin. I prefer to draw Kaeya flipping the coin, as he is flipping the coin in his animation in the game. So I find it nice to do the same in my drawing, because for me, making illustrations doesn't mean only drawing, but it has to reflect the character itself. So here is the final piece. After I finish the piece as a whole, I start adding some highlights and shades. As I told you before, I used color dodge mode layer and start adding highlights to make it brighter, and keep repeating this step till I get satisfied with the drawing as a whole. Hope you like it. Bye!